never dies, where there will be no parting and the soul never dies. No sad farewell, no tear, dim eyes, where all is love and the soul never dies. All right, who's got one? That's my contribution for the day. Hey, Brother Ford. Who else got one?
About everybody will be happy over there.
All right.
Page 174.
All right, you women got to sing the bass on this now. Give you a low part. Let's see. There's a happy land of promise over in the great beyond, where the saved of earth shall soon his glory share, where the souls of men shall enter and live on forevermore. Everybody will be happy over there. Everybody will be happy, over there. We will shout and sing his praise. Everybody will be happy over there. There we'll meet the one who saved us and who kept us by his grace, and who brought us to that land so bright and fair. We will praise his name forever as we look upon his face. Everybody will be happy over there. Everybody will be happy, over there. We will shout and sing his praise. Everybody will be happy over there. That's always a good one. If you love Jesus, tell your face. That's a good song too. Who's got one? What is it? What's the number? 307. 307. Okay. 307, leaning on the everlasting arms. Right? 307, is that what you said? Okay, 307. This guitar's fighting me this morning. What a fellowship, what a joy divine, leaning on the everlasting arm. What a blessedness, what a peace divine, leaning on the everlasting arm. Leaning, safe and secure from all alarm. Leaning on the everlasting arms. Oh, how sweet to walk in this pilgrim way, leaning on the everlasting arms. Oh, how bright the path grows from day to day, leaning on the everlasting arms. Leaning, safe and secure from all alarm. Leaning on the everlasting arm. That's a good one. All right, who's got one more? Help us out. And it's quieter than a funeral home. Now, we have to learn to do something on a Sunday morning to stir people up with me.
Always do Amazing Grace.
Yeah, we can always do Amazing Grace. That's right. Let me see here.
228.
What was the number?
228.
228, Amazing Grace. That's a good one out there. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. 'Twas blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we've no less days to sing God's praise than when we first begun. Good singing, good singing. Turn to Revelation 21 this morning. I don't think my mic is on, brother. It's not lit up or anything. It ain't lit. Let me throw it on the floor and jump up and down on it. Maybe that'd help it. Ain't seen a nary light on it. Nary one. Revelation 21. Sunday night, we had a little fun here. I hope it was fun. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it was informative. But we talked about heaven, and we went over some questions that people have about heaven, and they're common questions. And I tried to touch on the ones that I knew there was a Bible answer to. Because a lot of people have a lot of conjecture about heaven. You know, a lot of different things they cook up. They've heard it in a song, country western song, you know, or whatever, but there's nothing in the Bible that you know about. But during that time, last Sunday night, we touched on where we're going to live. We talked about the mansion a little while. And that mansion is in a city called the New Jerusalem. And I'm going to take a little time this morning to kind of drill down and look at some things maybe we just kind of breeze over about the New Jerusalem. One of the things that the Bible promises in Hebrews, he said, the writer of Hebrews said that that and then a better city. And I think a lot of times we just kind of read through that and it doesn't really register about it. Okay, New Jerusalem, fine, what's next? But there's a lot of blessings to be had by thinking about that and reading about it. And you stop and think about when you and I, if we get a new house or a different house, we want folks to come through and see it and then tell them, well, this is that, and, you know, the indoor plumbing here, how about that? That's a new thing. And we always want them to see that, and we talk about our home and so forth. And we're proud of it, as we should be. Well, the same is true with the New Jerusalem. We need to come back through here this morning in Revelation 21 and kind of just think about the things that the Lord says about the New Jerusalem. One of the things that, and we'll read through that here in just a minute, one of the things that really just made my head explode with what I couldn't wrap my mind around it was the overall size of this city. And we're looking at it in just a minute. When it comes to that, I'll tell you about some research I did on it, and it'll just make your eyeballs fall out. Revelation 21, look at verse 1. I saw a new heaven and a new earth. For the first heaven and the first earth are passed away, and there was no more sea. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem. Now, this is the second time that God talked about the New Jerusalem. He also talks about it in Revelation 3. And he said, I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, verse 2, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. Now, there's two or three things we know from that verse right there. Number one, the New Jerusalem is a separate place than Jerusalem on the earth. It's called the New Jerusalem. And the second thing we know is that it evidently comes down and hovers between the earth and heaven. Now, that's beyond science fiction right there. We've seen these science fiction movies about all this Star Wars and these spaceships that fly through the air at several thousand miles an hour and stuff like that. But in this case, God talks about the New Jerusalem, and he said it comes down out of heaven, from heaven to the earth. Now, here's the thing about this. This is what the interesting part is. We always talk as believers about going to heaven. We say, I'm saved, I'm going to heaven. And we are. We are. That's exactly where we're going. We're saved, we're going to heaven. But there's coming a time when that New Jerusalem comes down out of heaven, and that's where we're going to live. Our dress is going to be the New Jerusalem, not heaven itself, although we can go there anytime we want to in our new body and visit the earth anytime we want to. But he said down here, I saw this thing coming down from heaven, this New Jerusalem. And he also says down here in verse 2, he's prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. Now, if you know anything about reading the Bible, you know that the relationship between the church and Jesus Christ is that of a husband and a wife. He's the bridegroom, he's the husband, and the church is his bride, the bride of Christ. And so he said that relationship is true, and because it's true, this New Jerusalem comes down out of heaven and hovers between heaven and earth, and that's where the church is going to be. I don't by the church, I mean all blood-washed believers in this dispensation. I'm not talking about denomination. Somebody said, well, Baptists are the bride of Christ. Well, smoke another joint and see what kind of revelation you get from that, because that's not in the Bible. You couldn't find that with a search warrant, 5 bomb-sniffing dogs. You couldn't do it. And the FBI warrant, it's not there. So anyway, he said this thing comes down out of heaven. It's called the New Jerusalem. And it comes down from God out of heaven, and he said it's prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. Now, think about that word prepared just a minute. Let that hang out there for you. That word prepared. What did Jesus say in John 14? He said, let not your heart be troubled. Believe also in God. Believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go to prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself. You just read about that prepared place, the New Jerusalem. He said, I'm going to prepare a place for you that's solely for the church, the blood-washed people of God. And he said that's where you're going to be. That's where you're going to live, in the New Jerusalem. And we're going to find out about it in just a minute. But he said down here in verse 3, and he said, I heard a great voice. I heard a great voice. Hang on, I lost my place here. I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and God himself shall be with them and be their God. So he's talking about, he said, this voice said to him, this great voice out of heaven said to him, behold, the tabernacle of God is with men. We read about the tabernacle one time in our studies, and we found out that it was a temporary thing. It was a tent. One of the things about that tent, I don't want to stray too far from what we were studying today, but one of the things about that tent that blessed me, that tabernacle that was with the Jews, it was portable. They had stakes, they can put it down, and it was portable. And they took it everything throughout all their journeys in the wilderness, and they set that tabernacle up if they were going to be there a while, and that was their place to worship. But there came a time when that tabernacle is permanent. That tabernacle is replaced by the temple of God in heaven. And one of the things that God said about that temple, this is always a blessing to me, that it was on the outside, it was covered with beaver skins and things that would repel water. And it was ugly. They said it was just ugly to look at. But on the inside, it had all kinds of tapestry and beautiful silk hangings, and it was gorgeous on the inside. You know what that relates to? The Bible said when people see him, there's no form of comeliness that desire him. His face was marked. He was ugly on the cross. They marked his face. They beat his body on out of the cat of nine tails. He was horrible to look at. And that's from looking in the outside of Jesus Christ. And once you and I get inside by salvation, we know that's where the beauty is. That's where the beauty is. And the thing we try to keep telling people, young people especially, who generally don't have any sin, they're young men. And we tell it, there's more to loving somebody than looks. Because looks come and go. But that what you see is on the inside is the most beautiful part. And that is true. That's very true. come down and dwell with them. And in verse 4, God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any other any pain, for the former things are passed away. We read about that last week. We talked about that. I'm not going to dwell here, because I want to focus on the New Jerusalem, this city that comes down from God. Verse 5 said, and he that sat upon the throne said, behold, I make all things new. Here's that new thing again. And he said unto me, write these sayings, or these words are true and faithful. We read about all the new things that the Lord talked about. He talks about a new name. When we get to heaven, at some point in time, we're going to get a new name, and only us and the Lord will know it. But we'll also have His name in our forehead. Now, does that bring the same thing back to you? Who was it that required something to be put in your forehead? The Antichrist, wasn't it? You had to have that. That's 666. You had to have that in order to buy or sell or get gain or whatever. And so the devil was trying to jump in there and be first, because he mimics God. Whatever God is God, he mimics it. He tries to get himself in there and say, I did that. I'm the first to do that. But the Bible said we'll have a new name. We'll have a new home. We'll have a new body. All those things we talked about last week. But read on here just a minute. I'm coming upon something here I want us to take a look at. Verse 8 said, but the fearful and unbelieving and the abominable and murderers and whoremongers and sorcerers and idolaters and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone, which are the second death. So the Lord begins to divide the people between those that know Christ and those that don't. And he talks about the fact that New Jerusalem is there and is exclusively for people that have trusted Jesus Christ. In other words, the church, the blood-washed church, the bride of Christ. The Lord shed His own blood for the bride. And so that's where we're going to live. But look down here, please, in the verse 10. And He carried me away in the spirit to a great and high mountain and showed me this great city, the holy Jerusalem. So there you go. He said, descending down out of heaven from God. That's 3 times that God has showed us that this city He's talking about is something new that's being prepared for us. And when it's revealed, it's going to come down out of heaven and hover between heaven and earth. And that makes it distinct. Why is that so? Because the only people who are going to live there are those that got saved in this dispensation, the church, washed in the blood. The Jews will have their own. It looks like the Jews will inherit the earth. And the Bible said that the Jew is earthy. He loves the earth. He loves the vineyards. He loves the gardens. He loves to plant. He loves to have a tent here. And if he's happy, if he's got a tent and a garden and a few sheep, that makes him happy. And he'll live on this earth. Now, whether the Jew or the rest of the nations will be able to travel back and forth, I don't know. But we do know that the kings of the earth are able to come to the New Jerusalem and bring gifts to the Lord Jesus Christ. We know that from the Scripture. All right, read on. I'm coming up on something that I think is interesting. Verse 11 is having the glory of God, and her light was like unto a stone most precious, even like to a jasper stone, clear as crystal. And they had a wall great and high, and had 12 gates, and at the 12 gates were 12 angels, and the names written thereon were which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. So there were 12 tribes of the children of Israel, and they're represented in this New Jerusalem by these gates. And he says on the east 3 gates, on the north 3 gates, verse 13. On the south 3 gates, on the west 3 gates. And the wall of the city had 12 foundations. Now you see the symbolism here. Without the Jews, we wouldn't have anything, because the Lord came to the Jews first. The Scripture came from the Jews. And so he said, here we are. And he said, we've memorialized that by putting their names on these gates. And it has 4 sides, and there's 3 gates to each side. So that's 12 tribes and 12 apostles. And so there are a lot of things in Revelation that God does to memorialize what He did with the children of Israel. And so read on. He said down here, and he that talked to me, verse 15, had a golden reed to measure the city, and the gates thereof, and the wall thereof. And his city lieth foursquare, and the length is large as the breadth. And he measured the city with a reed, 12,000 furlongs,
the length and the breadth and the height are equal. Now, think about this. Now, this is our mind can't fix this much. If you look at those numbers, that city that comes down is a cube. And 12,000 furlongs, figure out in our terminology today, in our mathematics, it says 1,500 miles. And so it's equal to the height is equal, 1,500 miles high, 1,500 miles wide, and 1,500 miles deep. So it's a cube that comes down out of heaven. Now think about this just a minute. Somebody took the time to figure it out in modern day math, what that would equal to. And it would just blow your mind away. 1,500 miles wide, 1,500 miles high, 1,500 miles deep. It's a cube. Is equal on either side. And somebody researched that and said, well, what does that mean in today's numbers? Well, I didn't even know there was such a number as quintillion. Maybe you did. Some of you got big bank accounts. I know some of them just saying. I didn't. So the author I read about, he said that is one and then 18 zeros after that. You try to write that on a check sometime, see, you run out of space before you run out of zeros. But it's one number in front. It could be two. I think he said it was two quintillion. So you figure that out in cubic feet. And it figures out, it's amazing, because if you take all the Christians that are living on the earth at that time and bring them up there, they're going to have about 50 acres each person, along with park space and green space, and the city's going to be beautiful. It's going to have fountains of water life there. It's going to be a huge place. And think about it, it's 1,500 miles high. I don't know what you do. I don't know what kind of, well, we'll be able to get around by the Spirit of God. I know that. But when we go up there, this is not some little chintzy apartment that he's made for us. This is a true mansion in a city that is 1,500 miles high and 1,500 miles wide. So that's the place we're going to. The Lord doesn't do anything secondhand. He doesn't do anything cheap, because we're going to read here further that anything in the New Jerusalem is anything but cheap. But I thought about that, and you know, we get our mind, and I love old songs. You know that as well as I do. But there's one song out there, and I love it. I think the concept is great, but it ain't quite scriptural. One of them is, Lord, build me a cabin in the corner of glory land. I don't have a cabin in the corner of glory land. I've lived in things that were almost like a cabin. Some of you have too. But it's not in the corner of glory land. It's in the New Jerusalem. And I can tell you it's going to be a mansion beyond anything we ever thought about according to the Bible. And we got plenty of room for each house. We can entertain, whatever we're going to do. And so he said this thing is an enormous thing that comes down out of heaven and hovers above the earth. Now read on just a minute here. We're still talking about the New Jerusalem. And verse 16 said, the city lieth foursquare. That is, it's equal size on either side. And the length is as large as the breadth. And the 12,000 furlongs with a reed. Now this was measured, the angel measured with a reed. A furlong is measured out in biblical terms, but then you translate into what we know, acres and things like that. It becomes quite a large piece of property that is associated with that mansion. Some of us have lived in places where, it wasn't the most warm place. We lived in a house one time, and I told the kids this, and they didn't believe this. You're making that up. I said, no, I'm telling you, I don't make it up. We lived in there, and because up in our bedrooms, it was a 2-story old house. In our bedrooms, there was cracks around the windows, and when a big snowstorm would come in, blow that snow in on you, and you wake up in the morning with snow on your quilt. Isn't that right? We used to do that. And so I say, no, it never happened. You walk 45 miles to school too, probably. I said, well, it's almost that way anyway. But no, it's not that cheap thing. It's not some junk. We can have a cabin down here if we want to. I like beautiful cabins and staying in and things like that. But the Bible said here that this thing is huge. And the angel is measuring this thing. And so he said, verse 18, and the building of the wall, it was of jasper, and his city was pure gold, like unto clear glass. Now, I'm not familiar with gold. Maybe some of you are. Maybe you've had gold or I've seen gold. But I've never seen gold that is so pure that it's like a glass. You can see through it. That must be the purest gold in the universe, and it is. because most gold I've ever seen, is you can't see through it. But here he said he's got this gold that he made this out of, and he said it was covered in jasper. He said the foundations, verse 19, of the wall of the city were garnished with all manner of precious stones. The first foundation is a jasper, the second sapphire, and the third a chalcedony, and the fourth an emerald, the fifth sardonyx, the sixth the sardius, and the seventh chrysolite, and the eighth beryl. Let's see, I think I skipped one here. Eighth beryl, a ninth a topaz, the 10th a chrysoprasus, the 11th a jacinth, and the 12th an amethyst. Now, I don't know anything, again, not know anything about jewelry and diamonds and so forth, but those sound like pretty expensive pieces of God's work there. These beautiful diamonds or whatever they have there, these stones, and he talks about how expensive they are and how great they are. And so you think about that. Let's put that together here just a minute. Whenever we come off this earth, and at a certain point in time in heaven, God's going to show us our new home. And we're going to look in that thing and say, good night, where am I? Because the streets are made of gold. You got all these beautiful stones embedded every place. And you said, I must be dreaming. No, it's the reality. It's God's promises in His Word. And so the Bible said down here in verse 21, he said, and 12 gates were 12 pearls, every several gate of pearl. Think about this just a minute. Just think about it. I know that ladies like to have necklaces made out of pearls. A very valuable gift. You can give that for wife or whatever. But here, the Bible says that these three gates, 12 gates, every gate is one pearl. So give us help understand. How big is a pearl usually? About a pearl that's big enough for each gate. That oyster must be hurt good. That's a big pearl. And it's a large pearl. And I can imagine that transportation of that will be something more than whatever it is, got to be big enough for the thing to get through. The people, that's the access to the city there. And so you think about that. It's when God does it, just about the time you think it's done, He's not done. He outdoes it. And he said down here in last part of verse 21, and the street of the city was pure gold as it were transparent glass. You stop and think about what people do. We mentioned gold rush last week, I think. How people got killed and everything, and they fought over gold and killed each other and things like that. But we've never seen that pure glass. But the world wants it. The world every now and then they have these recessions, and they said buy gold, gold is so good, buy silver, buy whatever. But gold is going to be so common in these. We're going to walk. Step around with gold up with gold. Because what God has for us is the very best that there is in this world. Now we don't see some good news right now. And he said, verse 22, and I saw no temple therein, for the Lord God Almighty and the Lamb are the temple of it. In other words, they become the place of worship. That Jesus becomes the place of worship, and we see Him and we worship Him. And I don't. The other day I got thinking. I probably think too much. That's my problem. I think too much. But I got thinking how many people I've heard people say to me, "Aren't we going to be bored in heaven?" I don't think so. You read about all the stuff they're going to be doing. In chapter 5, you got 10,000 times 10,000 and thousands of thousands saying, "Worthy is the Lamb." I mean, they have these sayings all the time, and Jesus probably leads the singing. And we know we're going to eat up there. We talked about that last week. But there's going to be all this in heaven. We walk on the gold that is there. We live in a mansion that is huge and got lots of property with it. And in verse 23, he said, the city has no need of the sun, neither of the moon, to shine on it, for the glory of God that did lighten it dark and evening and that kind of thing, and beautiful sunsets and all that. And the beauty of heaven is going to surpass all of that. And the Bible said that the Lord is the Lamb, and the Lamb is the light thereof. Now, quickly, let's get verse 24. And the nations of them that are saved shall walk in the light of it, and the kings of the earth do bring their glory and honor into it. Where we are going to live, kings are going to come and visit and bring things for Jesus and give glory to him and worship him. Now, apparently, they're going to be coming from the earth up to the New Jerusalem. That's the only thing I can get out of that verse right there. And they'll come in and give gifts. Do you remember? There's a picture of this in the Bible. I'm trying to think where it is. I think it's 2 Kings, where the Queen of Sheba had heard about Solomon, and she made a visit and brought gifts to him. And when it was all done, he said, well, what do you think about my kingdom? And the Queen of Sheba said, who was a black woman probably. She said, Mr. Solomon, said, the half has not been told me. That's a picture of Jesus. That's a picture of people coming to the New Jerusalem to bring gifts to him. Because she said about Solomon's servants, she said, your men and women are happy. They come and go, and they're so happy here. And they seem like there's enjoyment to them. It's going to be a happy place. Now, if you're a sourpuss, you may have to go someplace else. I don't know. But we're going to be happy. And we sung a song, everybody will be happy over there. That's right. That's right. But here, these kings come off the earth, and they bring the glory and bring presents to the glory of God. And they say, we've got to go see the king. We haven't taken a gift for a while for him. And no doubt they look around and said, the half has not been told me. Good night, look at this place. The half has not been told me. And that's what the Queen of Sheba said. She said, half's not been told me. And she loved Solomon and was appreciative of the things he did for her. All right, one last thing here, and we'll take us a break. Look down here, please, at verse 25. And the gates of it shall not be shut at all by day, and there shall be no night there. Now, what does that mean to you and I? It means it's a safe place. The gates are not shut in the day or the night because there's no night there. That's something else going to be different. No night there. But he said, we don't shut the gates to keep them out. And he said, because the Lord is the light of it, he rules and reigns and so forth. You stop and think about, I think about the nearest big city we live near is Cincinnati. And they keep spending a lot of money on upgrading and building all these places of entertainment and spending, billions of dollars on renovating things and new streets and all the things that's going to But here, he said, that's not happening here. He said, there's no crime here. He said, there's no, we don't have to shut the gates to keep ourselves safe at night. All right, one last thing. I said it 3 times. We're going to stop. In verse 27, and there shall be in no wise enter into it anything that defileth, or neither shall there be anything that defileth, neither whatsoever worketh abomination and maketh a lie, but they which are written in the Lamb's book of life. You got the people here that are been saved and should walk and act like saved people. We're all going to have new bodies, so there won't be any reason for us to sin. We'll have a new body, like unto Christ's glorious body. But the last thing the Lord writes about the New Jerusalem is that it's a safe place, and it's a good place, and it's a happy place, and it's a beautiful place, and it's a place of worship. And people come from the outside, the kings who have all power in their cities and in their countries, they come and bow down to Jesus' feet and bring him gifts and honor him. And so we're going to be part of that. We're there. We're going to be there because of what Jesus did on the cross of Calvary. Let's take a break. God bless you for coming this morning.